Hello, I'm Greedy Helmet. I promote greed in all things, including corporate companies. Anyway, I've got an announcement that's been brewing for a while, and it's pretty exciting, so let's get into it. It seems that Sony just announced they're ending physical disc production entirely for the new PlayStation games. And my thoughts? What took it so long? I was expecting this way earlier. I actually thought Nintendo Switch 2 would go all digital first, because of the whole game keycard issue. But nope, Switch 2 still does physical cartridges. Sony bit them to it instead. But hey, greed is gonna do what greed is gonna do. So anyway, oh hi, over helmet guy. You're interested in this topic too?
Okay, so what I'm hearing is Sony's ending physical discs entirely by January 2028, later than you expected, I guess. I did see it coming, though. I'm just surprised Sony was the one to actually take the first step, especially with Switch 2 still doing physical cartridges.
Well, it seems this is the first step towards Sony becoming the new Google Stadia. Looks like my prediction is actually happening, and it could lead to a lot more. Other ways of making profit off digital. There are so many options.
Oh no, not this again. Your theories about games becoming like that console that had to be always online, along with everything else. I don't think that's going to work. It's too much of a hassle and too risky. I don't think you're gonna make any profit off that idea, even if people make endless excuses for a bad product just to get hyped for something new. But in some ways, I see where you're coming from.
It seems that physical don't make as much profit as digital these days. This generation is going to be more focused on digital because it's more profitable and easier. You can purchase things instantly instead of physical. The cons I could see with physical: damage to your CDs or cartridges, taking forever to load, and losing it somewhere. So you might lose that game forever. But with digital, there's no risk for that.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from, but I have to say your version is way rosier than reality, because I've got a whole list of disadvantages with digital too. Okay, sure, let's say digital is more profitable than physical. But the issue is nothing's permanent. There's always a catch, always subscriptions, and there's a good chance you could lose it anyway. Here's my version of what could go wrong if we stick to digital. What happens if your console gets hacked, and you lose all the data and games you've earned? Or what if a company decides to pull certain games you've purchased, because there's no permanent upkeep guarantee? You buy it, but you don't actually own it. And with digital, you can't share with friends. Everyone has to buy their own copy. What if they decide to cut off your access because you haven't logged in for a while, and you lose everything? And let's not stop there. You might be right that this keeps heading toward a Google Stadia situation, where you're playing entirely online, relying on servers and subscriptions just to access your own games. Plus, you can't trade in digital copies or get discounts the way you can with used physical games. If we keep accepting this, we don't actually own anything. And it's not just bad for players. It could end up bankrupting and ruining gaming companies too, because relying on something that isn't permanent is expensive to maintain long term.
Way to be a downer. Anyway, what's your plan? What's your alternative to this, genius?
My idea for fixing this is that someone out there needs to be a competitor to the big gaming consoles, an independent, unknown company that competes with them. Maybe even build their own console from scratch, one that's physical games only, and partner with indie gaming companies to make games for it. Even if it means going back to older generation graphics, at least you'd have a playable game instead of being extremely reliant on hyper-realistic visuals. You could even do something like manufacturing their own physical copies in-house, or build a console with everything on it through emulation.
Please. That's never going to work. Some random indie company making their own console. Nobody's got that kind of money lying around. That's just not gonna happen. Just remember, you own nothing, and be happy. That's the slogan you should stick with. Always find excuses to keep buying them anyway. So make it happen.
Geez, so, let us know what you think about this topic in the comments below. And once again, thanks for watching.